I've gotten from this was to see the engagement of the students. Kids that are normally turned off to the learning process, engaged in a different kind of a way, and you're going to have an opportunity firsthand to become involved yourself in the use of visual tools, in particular thinking maps, for helping to wrap up some of the concepts and ideas we discussed today. David.
Great. Good. Thank you, Jerry. Good morning. Good. It's almost lunchtime. You're leaning towards lunch a little bit. So I'm gonna really not do much of a presentation and really just engage you in what Jerry wanted out of this, part of the day, and that is to give you an opportunity to think about financial literacy, summarize. Somebody said on the panel to merge the ideas together. I think you said it actually. How do you bring those ideas together? And that's what we're going to do. And I am going to use thinking maps. I'm going to engage you in doing that, so I'm going to do very little talking, but I will be asking for your dollar back, okay? So I gave you $1, but I expect it back. And what we're going to do is really move toward trying to get at every table not only the maps of your ideas about financial literacy, because you've had a lot of input today. There are the panels, you have politicians, you have superintendents, people who are truly engaged in this work. And by the way, we probably have maybe 100 folks here, about 100 people, and you all have, I'm guessing, about 30 years of experience, more or less. So how many years is that? Somebody do the math for me. How many years? We have 100 people, 30 years. How many? 30? 3,000. We have 3,000 years of experience in this room. And this is the problem in classrooms and in corporations when you have a lot of information, and there's a whole field of study now that is, how do you do knowledge transfer? How do you give information? Not just, here's my memory chip, but how do you transfer information effectively and efficiently? So I'm going to work with you on that. Now, I do want to say, how many of you are parents? Okay, I just want to say, I have a quick story and then we'll get into it. But I have a 15-and-a-half-year-old son. And I think Robert Duvall said today that how could you get a 15-year-old to think about saving for retirement? Well, my son Alex was great. When he was 14, he comes to me and he says, and Alex, I think you met him. So he comes to me and he says, I really want to start my own savings account. And my wife and I went, you've got to be kidding. I mean, what did we are the best parents ever. Here it is, right? Because we had set up a savings account, and we put money in it, but he started making his own money. And so last summer he had about $100 in the account, and it was in a local bank. We live up by Dartmouth. So Sarah and I are just feeling so good about this. So then Alex goes to high school, freshman year of high school. So we went into our local bank a couple of times, and the teller takes me aside and says, Alex has been coming in and taking money out of his account. It's really, and I'm going, why are you telling me this? This is sort of private information. He says, well, it's really sweet. He comes in and he takes out $2 out of his savings account, every once in a while. I'm going, this is so good. I mean, he's like really saving. He's being prudent about his spending. Well, last week, we sort of did a financial review in the household. We called into the bank, and he has 17 cents in his account. So I want to think it's a long-term problem here that we have. And it really is about, that phrase when especially with adolescents, sometimes it's with coworkers when you say, what were you thinking? So many times now I hold myself back from asking that question of Alex, what were you thinking when you made that decision? And I think Yvette said it in the panel group, this idea of really focusing on students' abilities to think, and that goes across the disciplines. How do you decision make? How do you problem solve? How do you take risks and think about the ripple effects of those? So that's what we're going to be doing now, is using multiple tools to engage you in really looking at this area of financial literacy, while also the outcome for me this morning is you can walk away and use a couple of the thinking maps right off the bat when you go back to work, all right? So here we go. You have to look around the table and point to somebody and to say, we'd like you to be the scribe. Okay, so do that. That should only take about an hour. Just, point to somebody. Okay, are you done yet? There we go. By the way, have you ever noticed on the dollar bill, there's that I? Have you ever noticed that? And it's above the, it's above the pyramid. There's the iconography on most any bill is very interesting, but if you look on the left side of the bill, there's a partial pyramid, and I went on Wikipedia and found that partial pyramid is actually 13 steps, which represent the 13 first colonies. And the pyramid is not complete, symbolically representing that we still have a long way to go as a country. And the I don't know what that is, the all-seeing eye, I really haven't figured that out. But what we're going to be doing right now is using the power of our visual capacity to organize information about visual literacy. And here's what I'd like you to do. This is not going to be painful. This isn't going to hurt. What I'd like somebody to do, whoever is the scribe, is basically make a very large concentric circle in the middle of the large paper that you have. Yeah, yep. Here, I'll demonstrate. Should I demonstrate here? This is not hard. Here we go. Okay, something like this. This is pretty easy. Okay, I don't want to hurt you here. Concentric circles. Okay? And in the center of the center circle, I want you to write finance literacy. Okay? Not so difficult. The color is really optional for you, Howard. For you in particular, we want to, provide the greatest range of opportunity for your cognitive style. Okay. So he wants a crayon. So you have finance literacy in the center. Just write that in the center. Okay? Now, by the way, I do want to let you know, this is a lot like brainstorming. Let me give you another bit of information. The first time brainstorming was ever used or documented was by an advertising company in the late 40s. And David Osborne said, well, just a minute, we stand around and we talk a lot, but how can we really generate ideas? So the start of my work was first with brainstorming, but then I said, just a minute, what happens after the storm? What do we do with the thinking? So this is just a real quick, put down anything that comes to mind about finance literacy that you bring from this morning or that you brought to today. Around the table, put words within that circle, okay, within the second circle. Right. All right, within the second circle. Just start writing down, talk to your scribe. What are the things that come to mind? Any words that have to do with finance literacy, ideas, concepts, solutions, problems, it doesn't matter.
So teaching could be part of it. All right?
Keep going. If you would, just write them out here. Okay. That's fine. Anything that comes to mind. Things that you heard this morning, things that you remembered. Really good. Nice. I'm going to go out on the range of the edge of our group.
Framework.
Excellently. Somebody said framework. Somebody said long-term, short-term. K-12. Integrated. Okay, could everybody freeze for a second? Freeze for a second. What I'd like you to do is send a spy, one member of your table group, a spy to another table. Keep going, generating ideas, but send out a recruit to find out what another table group did. All right? Doesn't matter where it goes. And come back in a minute. You have a minute to come back. Okay? This is called cheating. Nice. Very good. If the spies haven't come back, come on back to your table groups and share. All righty. Could I have your eyes up here? Here we go. Could I have your eyes right here? Okay. This is called classroom management. But usually classrooms are not this large. But pretty soon you'll hear my voice. By the way, this is a very good example. This is a very good example. Look at the engagement of this group. Now, one of the things is that when students, learners, whether they're in the classroom or the corporation, when they begin to use visual tools, they stop focusing on talking to each other alone and start really focusing on the ideas. So you get a level of engagement because guess what? About 75 to 80% of our brain is dominated by the visual cortex in the sense of how we take in information. Did you ever find yourself looking out the window while you were being taught by a teacher? You're looking for something. Don't look at those windows, please. So the idea here is that we're helping you focus. Now here's what I'd like you to add to your map. You thought that was pretty darn simple, and that's a good thing. Here's what I'd like you to do. You've basically given a name, we've given a name to what we're looking at. We've generated ideas. This is called the circle map. It's for defining in context. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to up the ante a little bit. And I'm going to ask you to draw a frame around your circle map. Could you do that real quick, who's ever the scribe?